हेलो एवरीवन, काफी टाइम हो गया है हम लोग को इंस्पायर टॉक्स का अपना सेशन सीरीज किए हुए। एंड आई थॉट लेट्स रीस्टार्ट इट इन 2021, एंड व्हाट बेटर टू गेट स्टार्टेड अगेन than interviewing somebody from our very own fraternity, a CA student. And today we have somebody really special because इन्होंने इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग की है, एंड कोई ऐसे वैसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से नहीं, वन ऑफ द वर्ल्ड्स लार्जेस्ट ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज कंपनी से इन्होंने अपनी इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग की है। काफी सारे स्टूडेंट्स को इंटरेस्ट होता है करने में, लेकिन पता नहीं रहता कैसे करें, स्टार्ट कब होती है, व्हाट इज द प्रोसीजर, आर्टिकलशिप के बाद हाउ टू अप्रोच everything we are going to understand today, because we have Shivam with us, who, if you have seen the debates, was also present over there, did really well. And I'm really happy. Shivam, firstly welcome and thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for having me over. And before you say anything about me, I think first I'd like to congratulate you for the work that you're doing. I mean, it's really difficult to be doing that along with a full-fledged job. And you're doing it for the community, and that is really appreciating, really.
Thank you so much, Shivam. So हम start करते हैं एक आपके quick introduction से. Just let us know about something about yourself and what you're doing currently.
Okay, so my name is Shivam, and I'm based out of Delhi. I'm a CA final student who is due for May 21 attempt. And as for my professional background, I have completed my articleship from Delhi itself. It was a mid-sized firm. I did my 2 years of articles from Delhi, post which I shifted to Mumbai for my industrial training in Credit Suisse.
Yeah. So now everybody knows that you have done your industrial training in Credit Suisse. Tell us something about Credit Suisse, what it is all about, and then we will get into the core of industrial training, the concept, and what it is all about. Just give us a brief about Credit Suisse.
Credit Suisse is, like you just mentioned, it's one of, I would not say the top, but one of the top global financial services. And in India, it has presence in Pune and Mumbai specifically. They have a very small office in Bangalore office also, but that isn't really operational that way. But they have major presence is in Pune actually. So that's the biggest office out there. But in Mumbai, we have two branches. One is front office in Mumbai, that is Worli, and one is back end office in Powai.
Okay, that's fantastic. So now we will come to the Credit Suisse part and how you got there and all of that. But educate us कि industrial training क्या होती है, कब होती है, and कैसे आप उसको approach करते हो?
Okay, so industrial training, I believe, is an incredible option that a person can go for a CA student after completing 2 years of articles. Of course, it's basically a training that where you get to lay your hands on to the practical things. So a lot of the times, what happens is we're working on behalf of a client, right, in our CA firms and working for them. So industrial training, what happens is you get into the shoes of the client. So now you are a client there, and people will be working for you. Let's say a CA from a Big Four would be working, like KPMG was working for Credit Suisse. So it's the role reversal basically. And as for the importance and how relevant it is for a CA student, I think it makes all the difference because of the because of course of the work profile that gets offered to you. It varies of course, but then the entire culture, and I think you learn professionalism, you learn work ethos there. And when ICA is giving that opportunity and platform to be working in such prestigious organizations, then why not? Complete your 2 years of training from a CA firm and then switch to industrial. I mean, if it suits you.
Super, super. So to all those of you who are watching, अगर कोई भी questions, or if you have any questions, please feel free to write it down, and I'm sure I'll request Shivam to answer as many as he can. After, I'm sure you'll get a lot of clarity after you have seen the entire interview. But if you have any questions that come up, please do feel free to post it down, and Shivam will help us out with that. But Shivam, firstly, help me understand what thought, or how did this thought trigger that I have to go for industrial training? Because many students, including myself, call it the lack of sufficient understanding, knowledge, appreciation for what industrial training is all about. I never even tried, and I'm sure thousands of students out there don't even think about doing something like industrial training. So what was the trigger point for you?
Uh, okay, so this started basically at the time of my articleship. I had the option to go either for the big firms like Big Fours or top 10 firms, or to get into a mid-sized firm. So when I was giving a lot of my interviews, I was given an option to choose between one field. But I mean, there was a couple of fields they were there, but I had to choose in just one of them, be it audit, tax, and then DTIDT. So at that point, I was really skeptical of picking one field. So I had to decline a lot of offers from nice firms just because I did not want to get into one particular field, because I personally felt I wasn't mentally equipped enough to understand or know at that point what field I want to go in. Like right out of IPCC, I was not sure enough. So I get into a mid-sized firm thinking that probably I'll take a switch or something afterwards, after getting the hang of the work, the kind of work that CA does generally. So I didn't do that, but post 2 years, I felt now maybe I know what all work is done in that articleship training, and now I can probably go for something bigger and which is of a different league altogether. So that's when I thought about it.
No, that's a very interesting point that you made, that you had the clarity early on that I don't want to specialize and go for just one field, but I want to understand in general what a chartered accountant actually does, and then move on to something more specific so that you get the best of both worlds. And I think a lot of students out there, आप लोगों को काफी लोगों को ये क्वेरी रहती है कि स्पेशलाइज करें या जनरलाइज करें. So this can be an option कि आप first 2 years में generalize कर लो, सब कुछ देख लो, just understand from a mid-sized firm, and then you try to switch over to industrial training so that you are understanding how things work on both ends, and then you also have something additional as your experience, and then आगे आप जाकर whatever you want to do after becoming a chartered accountant you do. So that's a very good approach, and having that clarity of mind is very important. Now help us understand, and for all the students out there, how did you approach, or what was the process of getting into Credit Suisse, or maybe other organizations that you interviewed, tried? How did you try? How did you come to know?
Okay, so when I was sure of the fact that I have to make a switch, uh, I'm looking out for industrial training opportunities. I wasn't specifically targeting financial industry or investment bank per se. I was looking around at every option that I have at that point. So I started applying for trainings, not industry specific, but general opportunities. Like I had applied to various other industries also. Uh, so the right time to do that is, so basically you have to notify your principal like 3 months before that you are willing to go for this. That's the rule. It's written down rule that you have to inform them 3 months before. And I think that's when you can start your process also for applying for firms, companies. And I started, I think, 2.5 months before that. And because they do generally take time, a lot of good firms, companies do take time. Like Goldman Sachs took 2 months to complete the process. So unless you apply like right before 2 and 2.5 months, you wouldn't have a concrete offer right when you complete your 2 years. So 2.5 months is fine. When you inform your chartered principal about your decision, then you can start applying. It's the right time.
Got it. Got it. So 3 months notice period is any which way is required, right? For
It's not a
the
formal notice period, nothing written of that sort, but it's in the laws that you have to inform that you are thinking to make a switch.
Okay, superb.
Yeah.
Now, coming to, say, you mentioned Goldman Sachs and then you got into Credit Suisse. How did you know that they have such opportunities? You knew somebody, or you just went around checking their websites and writing, cold emails and then hoping to get a reply? How did that work?
Uh, I did not have a person who's connected to me in any of these companies, but yes, I knew somebody. Like in my classes, I met somebody who was working in HCL. So that's where I knew that companies of this scale and eminence do take people for trainees. So that's when I started looking, and the more I surf on the internet, then I got to know that these financial industries also are picking up people from CA community as an industrial trainee. So that's when I started hunting it.
Hunting. Okay, that is good. So now coming to Credit Suisse, what was the interview like? I mean, you are an article waiting to write your CA finals. So
Yeah.
knowledge hai bhi, but you do not have that kind of knowledge
Yeah.
which probably Credit Suisse is looking for. So what was the interview process like?
The interview process is a bit different, I felt, in financial industry when I talk about investment banks specifically as compared to uh, industries like FMCG or probably e-commerce like Amazon I went for. So that was a different process. So specifically what they do is, so my profile was a bit different in Credit Suisse than what I had been doing in my previous CA firm. It wasn't related to audit or taxation. So I did not have much knowledge about that area, and they knew it that they are picking a fresher for that. So the process is basically on the basis of your experience that you've had earlier in your training period. So a lot of questions and a lot of drilling and a lot of you can say scrutiny was done on the basis of my prior experience and my CV specifically, and of course the field for which they're hiring you, right? So you got to have some background and some at least working knowledge for that, if not that core practical. So they expect that. So I think particularship experience and the audits that you've done, your CV, and a little bit of knowledge of the field that you're going into, I think would be sufficient to get into that.
Yeah, so one point I'll pick up from that, and I keep mentioning it in many of my videos, that whenever you're going for an interview, you need to know what that organization is actually into, what it is all about, specifically for that organization, and then in the industry it is. You need to read, you need to get some
Yeah.
technical knowledge so that you can talk about it in your interview. And I'm sure they are not looking at an expert already. They know what they are hiring or whom they are hiring, and then it's that sort of interview where they're not expecting your expertise,
Yeah.
but at least a general knowledge. Technical skills is fine, audit experience is fine, your articleship is fine. What other qualities did you feel you needed to first crack that interview and then sustain? Because in corporate organizations like Credit Suisse, where the competition is cutthroat even for an industrial trainee, it certainly is not easy if you do not have certain skill sets. So what, according to you, were those top, say, 2, 3, 4 skill sets that come to your mind which help you survive?
Okay, so besides my technicals and my CV, my professional background, couple of things I felt that were really important. In fact, in the interview itself was, I think, the overall personality and grooming played a key role. And when I talk about personality, it could be soft skills, it could be your confidence, it's certainly communications, and I think a broader perspective that you carry. Because what they look for is a person should be a problem solver. I feel that's what they look for specifically. Like in given complex situations, if you put that person in, they will not expect you to come out with the most logical solution on the table, but they do expect you to tackle that problem with a certain sense of understanding and an acknowledgement that okay, this has been given to you and you're willing to put your head around it and work on it. So I think willingness is very important, and most importantly, the overall outlook, professionalism, basically. So yeah.
Super, super. Now, these points are extremely valid. Now, coming to a question which I'm sure a lot of students will have. See, the unfortunate reality in the chartered accountancy student fraternity is communication is somewhere lacking, because we are not getting into a college, we are not interacting with 100 people where we are speaking English too often. And we like it or not, in all the MNCs, English is the language which is, the first thing that is setting up your impression. Of course, grooming, to a great extent, it can be managed, it can be done, but communication is something. And then you mentioned a very important point: professionalism, the maturity that you showcase is also extremely important. So help us understand that you are very fine in communication, and of course grooming is any which way is a good thing, and we saw in your debates you were articulating it really well. Help students understand, how have you gotten a strong command over the way you present yourself? What is that you have done which other students also at this age can do?
Okay. Yes, you got it right that these factors do play a very important role, because what happened was, okay, just to continue from where I left earlier, and before I answer this particular question, I want to give you a little background. So what happens is, when you are being hired for a particular role that specifically requires you to cater to specific people who are probably not in India or overseas, like my entity was working as a service provider to a global banking services all over the bank, as in the bank-wide services. So it really required me to get in touch with people of different nationalities or different geographies. So then it becomes a prerequisite. So when we talk about communication, it's not something that they want extra on top of it. I mean, it's not something that should come extra over the package. But what happens is, it's a prerequisite. It becomes. So they do look for such skills on the very prime importance, that they do ask you for that, because it's a part of the job. So then it becomes really important. And coming to the previous question that you gave, what exactly did you do? I think it started way earlier for me. The thing is, I got into reading at a very early stage. I mean, probably in my seventh standard something. So I think that has helped, and unknowingly, I mean, I did not pick it up just to improve on it, but unknowingly, I felt that it was really something that I have honed on to gradually. And then, of course, I'm really interested, naturally very interested in being in debating and watching debates, or when there's declamation something, or debate of some. When I say politics, I'm interested in politics generally. So I have been watching a lot of that, and then talk shows. I am you can say I'm hell bent on watching a talk show or something. I mean, it refreshes my mind or something. That's what you can say. So I think that's where it got worked upon gradually.
Superb.
I
So
think
I
reading
think
helps a
again,
lot.
reading helps a lot. So
Yeah.
there's a good takeaway for all the students that see, first thing, it comes gradually, and I completely agree with that. It's not as if you'll take a book today and read it, and in the next 1 hour you'll start speaking good English. That's not going to happen. It is a gradual process which you will have to stay invested. Of course, if you were doing it at the age of 14, 15 and continuing it up to now, it would have been much easier. But it's never too late to start
Yeah.
building your communication skills. I think that is the essence that I get from what Shivam has just told us. You can learn good communication, or you can build on your communication skills while watching your favorite shows. As he mentioned, talk shows, having
Yeah.
interest in politics, debates. It can even be maybe your sports commentary, because generally the communication or the skills or the English that is used over there is fine. So students, for all of you out there who are wondering, ki, I have good technical knowledge, I have a decent personality, but I'm lacking in communication, especially as Shivam mentioned, at this very young age, without any post qualification experience, he was put in a spot to speak to people from across the globe, and it can be challenging. It is challenging to understand their accents, to understand what their thought processes is. Very important. Keep working on on your communication as a daily habit. It's not a one time habit that you just adopt and then 6 months later you leave it. It's a daily thing that will go with you up till the end of your career, up till the end of your life, or whatever. So thank you so much for sharing that. Actually, my next question was understanding the stakeholders that you had in Credit Suisse. You did mention that you had some foreign interactions, foreign client interactions, or foreign stakeholder interactions. Tell us something more about them, because as see, at the end of the day, you're still a student, and
Yeah.
there's always that fear, or that nervousness. How much ever good you are, you haven't been exposed
Yeah.
to such sort of things, and you are nervous when you're speaking to people from across the globe. How did you manage that? Did you enjoy it? Was it worrying you, or how did you come across that?
Okay. So firstly, I want to put across very categorically that okay, if I consider that I would be able to decently communicate, but then that situation or that place, that spot that I was put in, wasn't very easy because of the cultural difference, I feel, and because obviously of the communication style and accent and speed, all of that. It wasn't very comfortable in the beginning. So there were situations where I was intimidated. There were situations I did not feel like attending calls. I was scared of the fact that I will have to present on a call, and even though I was complete with my work and very much uh, detailed about what I have done, and I could easily put it out, but then I was concerned of the fact that it's a huge organization. I feel it was a huge responsibility to present my team, that too on a call with people at a designation of MDRs, vice presidents, and AVPs. In my team, there were two AVPs there, and my extended team in Zurich, that would sit out of Switzerland, had an MDR. So I had to present in front of them. That was such a big, you can say I was intimidated of the fact initially that I will have to do it. So it's not easy at all. No matter how trained now, no matter how expert you are, you will face that problem. So it's not a big deal. So coming to the point, how has the experience been, and how was the overall working culture out there? I think the experience out there has been incredible because of the fact they were extremely supportive. I
Mm.
think they somewhere understood the fact that this person has come out here to learn and obviously deliver at the same time. But I have always felt that support, and I could easily reach out to vice presidents or my AVPs for any feedback, or if they would easily come to me and give a comment probably, or give a feedback, or they slide in a certain level of criticism also. I mean, if I've done something wrong on the call, so that has been really supportive and cooperative. So I would say the people I had worked with, India, here, and overseas, all of them have been extremely supportive. Be it UK or be it Zurich, both of them.
Wonderful. No, so one learning that I'm getting out of what you've just told me, that you are intimidated, you are scared, you
Yeah.
are always, you'll have to be open for criticism, because irrespective of the fact that you're just an industrial trainee, nobody is going to give you that leeway. Oh, you are just a kid,
No.
and we are not going to trouble you. That's not going to happen in a corporate world. But the advantage over here is you have done this while you were a student. So you have gained the necessary experience. You have been exposed to such tremendous pressures, and you are still not a chartered accountant. So once you become a chartered accountant and you actually begin your career, because we like it or not, articleship period, industrial training period is not counted formally in our experience, number of years that we have worked. It's only post qualification that people ask. You already have a head start to other students, to other fellow chartered accountants, that I have already lived in this atmosphere for 1.5 years, whatever, and I have already got that exposure. I have learned, and I did not even fear being judged because I was there for a short period. I gave it my all, and I learned a lot. So I think a very important lesson. I think if I could go back 10, 11 years, 12 years back and into the history and change something for myself, it would have been getting or taking up industrial training. I think a very important message for
Also,
all
if
the
I can
students
add a
watching.
point here.
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah. So when I talk about that, no matter how trained or skilled you are, there will always be situations where you'll be stuck in between, and you'll be feeling that why do I have to do it? I mean, why do I have to be in the spot where people with designation of an MD or a director are watching you, or kept in a spot on a call, on a video call. So I think what I felt is it's important. I feel it's important to feel intimidated. It's important to feel scared. It's important to feel judged, although no matter nobody's judging you outrightly, but then you have that sense of apprehension that what will they say, what will they think of me. I think it's important because what happened was there was a situation where I was put in a spot. I did not know it. I had to present on a call. So basically there was this project that we were running, and my manager, so I was communicating with a director through my manager who is an AVP. So I was taking all the talks through him. So one day he told me that you have these questions and you have completed this project. Why don't you take up with an MDR directly on the call? So I was really scared. I mean, I was not even willing to. I was like, why are you putting me in spot? Why can't you just go and it's been going all this while. So now in the last 11th hour, why are you putting on to me and why are you making me stand in the between? So he said, no, this is how it's going to be because you have questions and it will be difficult for me to point and direct everything. So it will be much more effective. So I was completely freaked out. I was thinking of probably telling that I'm not feeling well, won't be able to disconnect this call today. And but this didn't happen. Of course, I had to go there. I had to present it. But one thing I felt that the moment you get pressurized, the moment you put in a spot, that particular like 7 to 8 minutes or 10 minutes of presentation is difficult because you are scared of the fact. But once you come out of it, no, you get the confidence. You get the confidence of a lot of different things that you can probably manage because you have presented it decently enough and nicely enough in front of these people at least. So it gets certain sense of confidence that an MDR sitting out of this place, probably not in India, is you are presenting to that person and that person is satisfied giving you its feedback and call is ending nicely. I think that works and says a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I echo that, and that still happens. So 10 years down the line after becoming a chartered accountant, I never know when I'll be put in spot. So this makes you firstly be ready for any situation. And I have felt that when pressure is all of a sudden put on you, you have the spotlight, the best comes out of you. You want to give your 200% and ensure that you are leaving a good impression. So that experience is extremely important and wonderful that you share with us. But tell me something, how different was it from your articleship? I know it was different, but how different was it?
I would say poles apart because specifically in terms of the profile, that was obvious because I was into auditing, taxation, and secretarial work. But the profile that I got in Credit Suisse was altogether different. It was an operational risk and FRM. So the work was totally different. I did not have a particular knowledge or background in that particular profile. So that way I can say my profile wise, it was totally different. But if you talk about otherwise in general, too, it was altogether different world, I would say, because like I told you, my articleship was from a mid-sized firm. And when you're working in such firms, you do not really expect that level of professionalism, or probably they don't expect that level of courteousness or professionalism out of you, maybe every time. That's a different case when you're presenting a firm at a client's place. You obviously are decked up and present the best version of yourself. But when it comes to organizations like Credit Suisse, or for that matter, Goldman Sachs, or any investment bank, you have to put your A game on every time, because like, if you're working with people who are accomplished to a level, who has been working for 25, 30 years in a particular company in Credit Suisse, and then you come across as a raw and crude self to them, it would really not be pleasing, and it would actually, I believe, reduce your credibility. You wouldn't be taken seriously because you would be a misfit over there. So that might eventually hamper your professional growth also. So that's why they specifically categorically look for these things when they hire you.
Got
The
it, got
culture,
it.
I would say, was altogether different. I mean, right from something as basic as writing an email, something as basic as approaching to a senior of yours and asking for a help, to a level of giving a feedback. I mean, it all differs. I mean, the moment you introduce yourself on the call, you present, how do you manage conflict of opinion? I think these are small, small things that I learned. I did not have prior experience of.
Mhm, mhm. So one thing I'm curious about, and I'm sure a lot of students will be, don't tell it to us directly, but what is the difference in stipend or the payout that happens in your articleship and in your industrial training?
See, if the person is out of Big Four, I think the Big Four does pay decent. At least in the third year, they somewhere pay around 20-25, right? Whereas in terms of mid-sized firms, they generally don't move beyond 8, 9, or 10. So in terms of industrial training, that it depends on the industry you're going for. And FMCG would be different than financial industry, or telecom industry would be different from some other probably industry. So I talk about the ones I interviewed for. So financial, that is the best, I would say. That pays much decent and way above what you've been getting in your CA firm, mid-size CA firm. I'd not talk about Big Four. Whereas in FMCG, it's almost at the level of Big Four. I mean,
Okay,
like 5-10% more than that, of course, but like more or less to that level.
okay. So
Telecom, I
no,
felt, was way less,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Telecom was?
way less.
Less. Okay. No, I think it's wonderful that, see, firstly you're being remunerated a little more than what you would have been when you were doing a third year articleship, plus the experience that you're building on. I think that is invaluable, and it's always good
Yeah,
to have, say, some decent compensation to it. So it's a motivation from both sides for students
yeah.
to try and pursue something like this. One last question, and I would ask you, Shivam, to address all the students who are watching this today. What, according to you, would be the top key success factors, or what is it that you would like to recommend or share with all the fellow students, especially who are in foundation, intermediate, about to start their articleship journey, or maybe in the first year of their articleship, and they don't really know what steps to take next? What would be your word of advice to all of them?
Okay. I think I would. So firstly, when the person gets out of, so before IPCC, it's all studies, right? You don't get to work a lot. So after IPCC, there's always a dilemma that everyone goes through. I too went through it, whether to go for Big Four or to go for mid-sized firm. So the way I took was, I took a mid-sized firm and then eventually shifted to an investment bank. Or the other way could be that you get into a Big Four from the very beginning and you expertise in a particular field, and then you are satisfied and you're working there for 3 years. You can decide that way at the very beginning, that if you want to stay in a because Big Four is good enough, I felt. And probably if you are in let's say in KPMG or Deloitte, you wouldn't want to shift for a professional kick or for probably brand value of a company. You'd be satisfied. However, if you're in a mid-sized firm, probably you would want that. So I was the latter case. So I think the main important thing is just to decide on that for a particular factor. And as far as training is concerned, technical knowledge, see, everybody will say technical knowledge is the most important, which is every interview they will be grilling you on technical knowledge also. So that is a given, that you would have to get the rigorous training done, learn the best possible things that you can, lay your hands on the most diverse assignments, so that later when you get out of that firm, you would have experience of various kinds. You would have tasted a lot of different puddings already. So you'd be in a better frame of your mind to pick the best thing for you. Because the problem I felt was I was right out of IPCC, wasn't able to decide which field I want to go to. But post 2 years, when I was making the shift, I was pretty certain of the fact that where do I see myself career heading, and how exactly do I want to take it forward that way. So that clarity automatically you get after 2 years. So don't really panic on that. I think the most important thing that I would categorically uh, point out, and a lot of people do skip that. In fact, generally 99% people do skip that, is your overall grooming is very important. Your soft skills do matter a lot. Your communications matter a lot. Your general behavior, your general etiquette, your general personality basically matters a lot. I'm not asking you to alter your personality altogether and make it a complete formal one. No, it is not required. When you're in a set of group of your friends, you would not obviously behave like that. But when you know that you will be approaching a particular company and you know exactly what they'll be looking for, so I think it's way more easier and way more better to start working on that aspect earlier in your articleship also. I'm not here saying that you should have already that experience when you come into articleship. You can always learn that. It's never too late and it's not too difficult. So when it comes to communication, please make sure that you at least have that, uh, a decent level of command. I'm not here saying that one has to have a professional level of communication that can always be honed, because when I went there, I think I've grown like with leaps and bounds. I mean, what I was earlier in a previous firm is altogether different from what I became when I went there. So you learn automatically on the job. Don't worry about that, but just have a basic fundamental base established, because a lot of the times what happens is when these companies hire, they look for a base. They would not want you to hire and then make you go through the elementary training of how do you talk to them, how do you introduce yourself on the call, how do you present, and basic personality. They would not get into all that. So they would expect you to carry that. So if you carry that, so they will see that possibility of and potential of learning something or probably being an asset to them. So just laying that foundation, I feel, is very important right at the beginning of articleship. And I think being aware of what's happening around is really important, because a lot of the times we spend most of our times in CA books, and we end up reading, of course, our course is practical. We end up reading uh, like CA specific things, but what about industry specific things? But what about what's happening around the globe? What about what's happening to our economy? We don't generally get to hear that and understand that. I think that is very important, because they would obviously want to hire a more professionally groomed and developed, and most importantly, mentally groomed and developed person instead of just a bookworm.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you
I mean,
want to ask any pointed questions, please do say, so that I can like put light specifically on that, because it's too general what I've said, I guess.
no, I think it's good. It's good because see, there's not just one characteristic or two characteristics that students will have to develop.
Yeah.
It is these many characteristics that then, make you a presentable individual in front of such big organizations. So it is important to groom, hone all of these. And as you rightly mentioned, and I'll summarize it for all the students and all the viewers, that they are not expecting you to be out of this world. They're not expecting you to be out of the box, but they're expecting a bare minimum foundation on which they can then build you. So that is very much required. And during your initial years of articleship, you should make a conscious effort. If you are thinking that okay, somebody will come and teach me, that's not going to happen. You are on your own. So you will have to take that initiative. You will have to be proactive. You will have to learn to get wonderful opportunities like Shivam has just shared with us. And I think I'm 100% sure it is going to do wonders to your career once you qualify your chartered accountancy course, and then you show in your resume that I've already worked for an organization as big as Credit Suisse. So that is wonderful.
And I think at the end, I would say digital training is an amazing opportunity for sure. If it workouts for you, if it is working out, it's very nice. I mean, you can take up that, because what happens is, uh, you reach at a saturation point in your CA firm, I felt, because when you're doing the same assignments as a junior, you'd be doing similar assignments as a senior, but as a lead. So the
Mhm.
work is different, just your position changes. So
Mhm.
I think when a person goes through 2 years of training, I believe the person gets mature enough to understand what field do they like, and if they want to try out something new other than the conventional. So I tried out something different other than tax audit or other CA-based things. So I think that is the right time you can pick and hop onto something altogether different. Although they were all chartered accountants in my team, but I had never even heard of this particular field before that. So again, it's a field unknown, and I'm sure there are numerous fields unknown to us, because when we are working in a firm, we are always closed in a box that this is what you do. You file GST, you file individual tax, you file corporate tax, you file like auditing reports and all of that. One doesn't get that exposure, and the mind doesn't get open to a lot of other possibilities that probably exist outside also and within India also. So then it becomes really important to put yourself out there so that you understand the horizon. It's not just a particular 5 category of work that you do in CA. It's much more than you have been doing, and it's a sea of opportunities that you can obviously go and grab. I think
Absolutely.
it
And
broadens your horizon basically.
oh, absolutely. And if
Right.
you have the
Right.
option, then why not go for it? And
Yeah.
ICI has made that wonderful arrangement that you can do something of this sort. Definitely cash in on the opportunities. It changes your
Yeah.
perspective. It changes your future. So thank you so much, Shivam. I think that is what I had from my end, and it was really very interesting for me also to learn about industrial training and your experience. And I'm sure a lot of students who are going to watch this will benefit from what you have just shared with us. Guys, once again, do comment in, do let us know if you have any questions. And I'll request Shivam to at least answer a few of them once in a while so that you get even more clarity if you have any pointed questions, any specific doubts, any challenges that you have been facing. Maybe he can help us answer them. But thank you once again so much, Shivam, for taking your time out and doing this for us. And I really wish you all the very best for your May examinations.
Thank you so much. And thanks to you also for putting this across through your platform. And I'm sure this will help a lot of people who are watching you, your viewer base, of course. And they will, I think, get a direction of what exactly it is and how to approach it. We can obviously go into details like where to apply the clerical stuff, how to apply, and how to prepare for interview. That's a different thing. But I think giving a broad perspective was important, and that's what the intention of this video was. And I hope people resonate with that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Shivam. Then take care and all the very
Thank
best.
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.